I played like on the tee where you're taking them away, your match out there. Sometimes you one time, how do you actually start playing against other people, making them multiplayer game? Because you put tiles out and then collect them at the same time. You always
That's 59. It was synchronized a little while ago.
It's right now.
Pretty much. Pretty much. That's pretty With this missile, it's only missing by a second.
Yeah, I can imagine, because that. But I mean, you see playing, it's like, okay, well, surely I can figure this out.
Yeah.
I've always played it. I was talking about that the other day when I saw the flies. Like, I've only played on like the mega test.
Welcome, Philip,
You know,
to
when you
your
match the tiles and
next
work your way down the
wonderful
pile, and you're trying to make all your matches with the edges showing and all that. And I've never ever done it or seen anybody do it.
enjoyment.
I've seen it in like TV shows and movies, but I've never actually watched it.
Time, break it in.
Yeah, he'll get it.
Soon enough, soon enough.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. Mr. Pope, call the roll.
Mr. Gazelle.
Here.
Dr. Houghton.
Here.
Mr. Farley.
Here.
Mr. Fink.
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Here.
Mr. Rich.
Here.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yeah.
We have a quorum.
So we'll have the invocation by Councilmember Houghton and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, I'm thankful that I was able to have the November because it's Thanksgiving, and this is something I found from the Jesuit order. Thanksgiving is a time of gratitude to God, whose guidance and care go before us and whose love is with us forever. Thanksgiving is a time to reflect on the changes, to remember that we too grow and change from one season of life to another. Thanksgiving is a time of changing seasons when leaves turn golden in autumn's wake and apples are crisp in the first chill of breezes of fall. Let us remember the true meaning of Thanksgiving. As we see the beauty of autumn, let us acknowledge that the many blessings which are ours, they are ours, our families, and our friends, and let us give thanks in our hearts. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, golly, it is November, it's Thanksgiving. Start of the holiday season, the Christmas lights, and it's like December, what was that time called? Sunday, December the 2nd? First, right after Thanksgiving, we'll have the Christmas lights in the park lit up. Even though it's December, but you won't get your Sandsburn in time for that probably. There will be a Thanksgiving service, community church service held the Sunday before Thanksgiving. If you want, it'll be at the Methodist Church this year. It travels around from church to church if you want to attend. So those things are happening, family time, traffic. Thanksgiving, we usually start seeing the week of Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving, rentals go up again out here, so we'll probably start seeing a lot of non-Folly residents again for a week or two. Then that kind of waves off till right around Christmas and New Year's. So enjoy Thanksgiving and be careful. Remember to cook your turkey all the time it needs to be cooked, and cook your dressing all the time it needs to be cooked, and have the cranberry sauce cold, right? I would like to also thank Mr. Benton. Stand up, take a bow. He fixed the bridge. There's no more bridge. Had to walk through between West Indian and Michigan Avenue. It's now a drainage pipe with backfilled with shell sand and smoothed it all out there. So thank you very much for getting that done. It only took me 4 years to get Kyle and Eric to do that. And then Philip comes along and takes care of it. No, just Thank y'all, thank you guys for doing that. And, again, thank the, public works guys in general, whether it's keeping your water flowing, the sewer flowing, picking up the garbage, picking up the construction waste. So as the holidays come up, people start doing a lot of cleaning and cleaning out and getting ready for the holidays. If you're gonna have, lots of trash or stuff you wanna sit by the road, you want the guys to pick up, how about give them a call so they'll know to, coordinate that and make sure they pick it up on a timely manner. Keep the place clean. All right. So with that, we'll move to Mr. Pope for a couple of staff reports.
So I wanted to update council on our ongoing efforts to identify transportation options and costs for seniors on Folly Beach. We started this almost a year ago, trying to measure the demand and try to figure out which kind of programs the city may be interested in offering for transportation services for seniors. Earlier this year, COG did a survey for us. They managed to reach 248 folks who qualified due to their age, and that's out of a total population of 700 people in that age range. It's about 25% response rate, but I think it's excellent in terms of folks responding to city surveys. So we had a really great survey effort. Thanks to anyone who participated in that. COG has come back to us and given us a very thorough summary of the results. I have that if anybody wants a copy, but it is just a summary of the results. You know, we emailed this many people, we got this many responses. The next step, which we confirmed as recently as today, that it's incoming soon, in time for the budget next year, is translating these numbers into demand estimates and cost estimates for the various services. So what COG's gonna do is they're gonna take the responses, they're gonna say, based on these responses, we believe a subsidized rideshare program would need X number of trips per week, and the city's cost over a year would be Y. Or you've got enough demand that it makes sense for you to buy a bus at a cost of X amount of dollars and pay someone to drive it because you've got enough demand to meet that option. So we look forward to having back for you guys for budget consideration an estimate of which services folks want and how much each one of those would cost if we chose to implement the different options to meet that need. So it is ongoing. The wheels of government move slowly. They do move. So hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be able to actually give you guys a strong, sound, statistically based options for moving forward. If anybody would like a copy of the survey, they can email me at apope@follybeach.gov. Next up is Folly Parking. There's a new app on the Android store and the Apple store. The name of the app is Folly Parking. Many thanks to Councilman Bazell, who actually developed the app for the city. And what Folly Parking does is it gives folks who are interested in coming to Folly Beach and parking in a parking lot, it lets them log in remotely, see how many spaces are available at each lot, get directions to the lot, pay for parking once they get there, check the traffic cameras, see the beach rules, see the parking rules, connect directly with the parking company. It's deceptively simple interface, but it actually has a lot of really super useful information that we hope is going to be helpful to folks, mainly folks who are off the island coming to Folly Beach. They can look, know where they're going, maybe disperse some of the traffic from the most heavily used lots, maybe keep people from looping around looking for parking when they know they can go down the 9th Street and find plenty of it. We're really excited about that. We've reset the counter for downloads and clicks, etc. So please tell everybody you know. Share that news on social media. We're going to reach out to the media to help get folks interested. But download it, check it out. It's really super helpful, and I think it's going to be a really great tool for people who come here and deal with beach traffic. And hopefully it will make traffic on the island a little better when folks get here. So it's Folly Parking. Download it, check it out. We need feedback, so check it out. If the links don't make sense or if it doesn't flow the way you think it should, feel free to email me and I'll pass that along to the developer and we'll work on it. And so thank you, Mr. Brazil.
That's a great tool for folks coming in for trying to maintain parking and proof of parking on Folly Beach. Another way to prove what we got going on. Okay, so we're down to approval of the agenda. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion to remove or postpone ordinance 724, 2324, and 2424 until December meeting.
Yeah, have a motion on the floor, have a second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
I couldn't hear you.
724, 2324, and 2424. The first three items under old business, the ones that came back from planning commission.
Okay.
The agenda's out of sync.
Yeah, since Ms. Stevens can't be here because of illness, we're gonna push that back to next time. Nothing major. Mr. Pope on the amendment.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Fink, Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
Mr. Bazell,
Yeah.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yeah,
Amendment passes.
all right, back to the agenda as amended.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Bazell,
Yeah.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yeah.
passes.
Okay, so we're approval of the minutes from October the 8th meeting. Have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Any discussions?
Just one Scribner error. I've already shared it with Wes. He's got it.
Okay. So, minutes as corrected.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Bazell,
Yeah.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
Up to personal appearances, Ms. Terrell? Did I get that right, or close
You
to
did
right?
Tyrell.
Tyrell, okay.
Yeah, close enough. All right, thank you very much. My name is Jen Tyrell, and I'm an ornithologist with the Audubon Society in Audubon, South Carolina. And I study and work to conserve birds in the places that they need. I am here to speak in favor of the Lights Out resolution for Folly Beach. The Lights Out Folly Beach resolution declares reduced lighting time periods where businesses and residents are encouraged to reduce lighting or turn out the lights to help provide safe passage for migrating birds. During the fall and spring, migratory birds take their monumental migratory journeys between the wintering and breeding grounds. South Carolina is along the flyway path for hundreds of species and millions of individual birds. Exterior unnatural light sources can disorient migrating birds who fly at night, resulting in window and building collisions. By turning out lights, the risk of bird deaths by collision is greatly reduced. The insect population has been crashing as well, and one of the causes is unnatural light at night. Since 96% of land birds rely on insects to feed their young, taking steps to protect insect populations is also crucial for bird populations. Human mental and physical health are reliant on having dark periods for our circadian rhythm, melatonin production, and to reduce stress. Lights out and reduced downward facing lighting used in targeted ways in warmer colors will benefit the city of Folly Beach's birds, insects, turtles, and human residents. So I'd like to ask you to consider this resolution later on tonight, and thank you very much for your time.
Anybody have a question?
Any bird questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Muldrow?
Oh,
Oh, you're taking that place? Okay.
yeah, I'm Nancy Moore, and leader on the Tourism Committee, the TVPC, for this project. And our project is just to bring to your attention, you had in your packet a proposal that we will be able to place 5 highway-type signs about the history of Folly Beach. And the first one, the Exchange Club had already got through the whole process, but they hadn't got to the payment yet. And so we will take that from here, and we have the funds to pay for it. already in our budget. And then we would have a sign on the Folly Beach Pier, Morris Island, the jetties and groins, and the beach renourishment, the history of that. And so we hope that this brings the project to your awareness, and if you foresee problems, that you would let us know. If it's all right to go forward with the project, then Professor Muldrow, who could not be here tonight, will get permission for the siting in consultation, I'm sure, with Mr. Pope. And the ones that we get permission for, we'll carry through with Foundry making them. And then Eric has agreed to install them. And if one of these falls through, or some others have been suggested, we may add some additional ones.
Ms. Moore, I was, on the Folly Beach Pier, is this the actual wording, or is it still being worked on? Because it doesn't mention anything about the pier people would be looking at, because it was just built.
Oh, okay.
And it-
I can ask Professor Muldrow to the current one.
The description sort of ends with the previous pier and doesn't
Okay.
really address what people are looking at.
Oh, okay. That's a good comment.
And jetties and groins and beach renourishment, I guess you couldn't really talk about beach renourishment except for the historic
Right.
agreement we had with Corps of Engineers. And, you know, but it's like an ongoing thing. Where do you plan on putting that particular mark?
Well, the siting of it, you know, once we get through this point, the siting of it, I expect, will be an issue if we may get stopped. It is, you know, that you may not be able to find permission to site. So that's to be decided.
It's sort of like a every 4 year, it's
Right.
hard to put your finger on the historic beach renourishment when it happens over and over and over again.
Right.
And the
And
same
is
with,
likely to continue.
we
yeah.
hope so anyway.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the same with the
Higher
groins.
and higher dunes,
The
yes.
same with the groins. There's really,
Yeah,
maybe the most historic groin is the one, the terminal groin at the end of the beach. That was just probably the most effective of all the groins, and it certainly had the lasting power. But other groins, we'll be renourishing them in the next 2 years, I
Some
think.
sure.
Some of them. And
So maybe something about a continuing process,
Yeah.
okay?
thank you.
I just had one that has come up in the past, is our history of surfing.
History of surfing?
Yes, and washout, and the significance of that. And I can give you the research that I did, but that,
Yeah, you really started the whole process with your historical interest and research. And these highway signs are replicable. Somebody runs over them, you know, they've got a template to replace, and they're relatively inexpensive, and then they become part of the whole tourism process in South Carolina. So we looked at several options and came upon that one partly because of the replicable repeatable nature of it.
and it's similar to the one that's in the river park.
Right. That it's exactly
The
on
same.
that model. And that's one of the reasons that because they have such a repeatable model, it's one of the reasons it's actually less expensive than going to a commercial sign place and getting it. Of course, you might get color and all that too. But, you know, when you go to, if it gets knocked down or blown away, you know, what do you do next? You've got to do the whole thing all over again.
So y'all doing this out of the TVPC budget?
Right,
So-
the
so-
budget, yes.
So we don't have to give you special permission?
No.
We give you permission when we
got
pass the
We
budget.
got the money.
Yes.
And actually, we are, that's why we can help the Exchange Club that we didn't know had already.
Yeah, thank you.
Done a lot
for us.
toward it, and we can help them, we can pay for it. And if the siting of these does not work out, you know, we may have there are some other suggestions also for the history. But we are at the point, you know, we celebrated a 50-year, and at that point, that's when people usually begin looking at the possibility that they even have a history. Or police begin to say, oh, you know, we'll lose it.
Yeah.
And it becomes more interesting. So we're coming in at the right time.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for your suggestions. We'll certainly include those.
Okay, citizen comments? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm J.D. McAllister, 1715 East Ashley. Before I get to the topic at hand, I want to give a couple of 3 shout-outs. When we retired here, I discovered that there are 3 things to do. 1 is to play pickleball. 2 is to take grandchildren to the 2 best children's playgrounds I know of anywhere. And 3rd is to come to council meetings. There may be other things to do, but those are the 3. Shout out to Billy Brooms and all of the volunteers that put on a super pickleball tournament over the weekend. I have been around a lot of volleyball tournaments, and I've never seen a sports tournament run more smoothly than that. And we won one of the prizes. Margot wanted some things that, pickleball things, but it was a 2-part unit. And the other part of the one we won was the bottle of bourbon and the bottle of rye. So we came out very nice.
You'll need
Also-
that bottle of bourbon after this meeting.
Yes. It's always needed after the
After the
meeting.
meeting.
Sometimes before. Another shout out to the resolution on pancreatic cancer. I wear a wrist bracelet most of the time in honor of my identical twin brother who died 10 years ago of pancreatic cancer. So that one strikes close to home. Now, the topic at hand, seawalls. Several weeks ago, I sent an email to all of y'all recommending Dr. Beck's book, especially chapters 14 and 15, which give history of both the renourishment projects and the history of the exception to the Beach Management Act. If you haven't read that, please read it and reread it. I will not go over any details. I'll leave the reading up to you. We got a beach renourishment project started in 1992, which involved a contract with the Corps and a contract with the state. That contract with the Corps was for 50 years. And one of the aspects of it was that the city would protect the beach, the upper beach, the sand, and the shore. And that they would not allow anything to be developed seaward of the baseline shown in the beach management plan of December 1991. That baseline runs essentially along the seaward boundary of the lots facing and touching East Ashley Avenue. So it's a 50-year commitment. Now, after renourishment started, there was a move by the city to grant building permits. The Corps had promised there would never be anything built on those lots, and some people actually quit paying taxes because they believed the Corps. When I came to council, Mayor Linville explained why they weren't following the contracts. Mickey Mouse documents not worth the paper printed on, which produced laughter from some council members. That resulted in a movement by some council members and some of us citizens. I was a property owner but not living here, and we defeated Mayor Linville based mainly on that issue. But as many things happened, nothing changed. So I would ask you to please examine what you believe your historical restraints and authority is under the law of South Carolina that grants our exception, and under the contracts that the city made that are supposed to last 50 years. Please review those.
You need to look at the new one. The old one's out. You need to look at the new contract.
Well, there was an agreement made for 50 years.
That 50 years is run out.
Enforce-
We got a new contract now.
I'm aware of that, but the agreement was made for 50 years. The Corps promised in a public meeting in the motel down here that there would never be anything built beyond that baseline, and the city was in attendance, and the state was in attendance. How and why it never got honored, I don't know. But I don't expect y'all to say that whatever your restraints are Mickey Mouse documents not worth the paper they're written on. I would encourage each of you to research this. I think there is a serious question here about the violation of your contract with the Corps and with the state. And if you come to the conclusion that you don't have the authority to issue any more building permits for seawalls, then the seawall ordinance dealing with everything in front of the traditional revetment line is needless. So I would ask you to please study this issue before you move on either the new beach management plan or any further alterations to the seawall ordinance. I think it's a serious question, and I would ask each of you to individually study the history of both of those projects, renourishment and the exception. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name's Luann Rowland. I live at 1557 Kingfish. And I'm happy to come after you because I'm trying to represent the pickleball community, dozens of us here on Folly Beach. So I guess what I'm in favor of is old business, Resolution 3124. I think most people do know by now what pickleball is all about. What it is I recognize a lot of people from the courts. It's a sport that combines probably tennis, badminton, table tennis, and it's played on a court a little bit smaller than tennis. And thank you all for the brand new 4 courts that we have right before we had our wonderful pickleball tournament this weekend. And why it's so popular, many reasons. I think it benefits youth, seniors, everybody in between, and on many different levels. Obviously a physical level, it keeps all kinds of people active, and you don't have to, you know, it's not like golf where you have to have 20 million lessons before you get good. We have people in our community that give free lessons. So people will walk up to the courts and they just are at the fence, and we'll just invite them in, and within like a week or two they're part of our group playing with us. So I just want to say that it's good for everybody, seniors, youth. It's good on many different levels, and our pickleball community has really tried to give back to the Folly Beach community in at many different ways. Like we just had the tournament in conjunction with the Exchange Club. We try to do the beach cleanups. We take part in the Folly Beach Parade every year. So I just want to make sure that, and when tourists come, they tell me all the time, like, we come back every year and we look forward to playing with you all. You're the most welcoming group we have ever seen. And when I have traveled, I've found that myself. I've gone to other places where they have pickleball courts and you just kind of feel very awkward. Like if somebody is there within 5 minutes, we have welcomed them and joined them into our group, and they come back. So we're just hoping that we can just finally get these brand new nets that we've been waiting for a long time. What has been suggested that we get is pretty high quality nets, but that's because they're on a public court and they have to take a lot of, I won't say abuse, but a lot of use. So we're hoping that that finally gets through. Does anybody have any questions to me, what we're asking for? Or? No? Okay, well, thank you. Thank you all.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, we're moving to old business, ordinance 25-24, ordinance amending Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, sections 5208, separators to adopt and incorporate the reference to the James Island Public Service District's requirements for the management of fats, oils, and grease. This is the second reading. I have a motion for approval.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Mr. Cole.
Mr. Gazelle,
Yeah.
Mr. Fate,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Goodley,
Yes.
passes.
Resolution 31-24, resolution by Folly Beach City Council authorizing payment of up to $10,000 for the purchase of pickleball nets and up to $17,000 for sound dampening material for the city tennis and pickleball courts from Parks and Recreation and Special Projects Reserve accounts. Have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
I'd like to make a motion to remove the sound dampening materials until a new resolution in December. Sorry, we get a second.
Second.
That way, we've got a lot of information that came in late for different products and different things. They got sound maps and all that. I want to give a little presentation on all that before we go further with the sound dampening. So if we remove this one, we'll bring back a new one next month.
Any questions, comments?
I just have a question, Mr. Mayor. In conversation with staff, I'm curious of the 17,000, or the amount of money that's in Parks and Rec that they were gonna take part of this for. Catherine, you and I talked briefly about that too.
Right, so the number actually, because we did 10,000 for Horace Park as a master plan, at a previous meeting is 13,215.87. That's the up-to-date number.
Not
In-
20,
in-
not 23 something, but 13 something.
No, minus 10,000, and that's the Park and Rec Reserve budget.
And Lee, are you here? We've used that account not much, or when's the last time we made any withdrawals out of that for expenditures for things like this, out of the Park and Rec Reserve account?
Special projects hadn't been used since last fiscal year, so it's been easily 6 months, probably more like 9 or 10, since we've spent any money out of it, and it was rather small amounts. We started with 30,000 in that account 3 years ago, and here we are today with 23.
Right, and part of the reason for
13.
that is, we worked on a 2021 comprehensive plan, and then that got delayed with different changes involved, and then we have a new, some new members of the Park and Rec, so we didn't use it during those transition times, for sure. We still have to have a comprehensive plan back to you all for approval.
So there's two accounts in question here, right, that they would take. Where is this one, where is this $10,000 coming from? Is it coming out of the Parks and Rec account or out of special projects?
For the nets,
Yeah, well, that's all we're talking about now is the nets.
I
Well,
believe,
in point, I mean, should we go ahead and vote on the amendment
I was thinking the same thing.
before, because it sounds like we're talking about the whole shebang right now.
Yeah,
We need to vote on the amendment to remove the sound dampening first and then continue this
You
conversation.
don't make an amendment to change the numbers to reflect 10,000, like 5 and 5?
Well, you're gonna have to in a minute.
Okay.
Well, he could make an amendment to do that too, couldn't he?
Well, you
We've got one amendment on the floor right now.
can take the 17,000 out. Then we'll come back and you can make an amendment to take whatever.
Mr. Rich, on the amendment. to
Yes.
remove sound.
On the amendment.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Gazelle?
Yeah.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yeah.
Amendment passes.
Now, back to, so the only thing left there is 10,000 for pickleball nets. Now the question is, where does the money come from?
And do we have to do anything to update the
Well,
number?
if there's enough money in the Parks and Rec account, why would you pull it out of a separate account? I'm just curious why that was brought up.
Why wouldn't you just take it out of half and half? 5 out of one, 5 out of the other. Leave some money for the Parks and Recs committee to work with.
Okay. I have, without a doubt, a bias. I'm the liaison, the council liaison to Park and Rec, so I admit that wholeheartedly. So I would like some funds for the board to continue to work with, and that's where I stand on that.
And it's 4 up to, so it doesn't mean we gotta spend all 10. So,
I mean, if it's,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I understand.
so, I mean, if,
And Mayor, if it helps for discussion, the special projects reserve has about $22,000 in it, and the Parks and Recreation has about $13,000 left in it.
Yeah.
Let's not take it all out of Parks and Rec then. I mean, let's leave them some working capital, right? Is that not reasonable?
So basically, if we took 5 out of the Parks and Recs, that would leave them about 8,000. And 5 out of the 22 would be what?
Approximately
Because
17.
if down the line, a special event, a special project comes up that doesn't fit Parks and Rec, you're not gonna be able to take the money out of Parks and Rec, you're gonna be left with what's the special events. Whereas if it's a Parks and Rec thing, it can still come out of special events. It's really half dozen of the other, it's just a governmental accounting, but why pigeonhole yourself later on down the road if you don't have to?
Because I think that, just to be fair, the way it was coming out was basically about 50-50. I think it'd be fair to go forward, we should be 50-50. That's my opinion. I have a motion to make a half and half.
I
5 out of
motion,
each?
I motion that we take $5,000 out of the special account and $5,000 up to $5,000 in both accounts from the Park and Rec for the purpose of the pickleball nets.
Second.
Any more discussion on that? Mr. Pope,
Mr.
that
Farley?
second amendment.
Yep, on the second amendment. Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Sure.
Mr. Brazil?
Yeah.
Half dozen.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yeah.
That amendment passes.
So basically, we're down to
As amended.
the resolution as amended, pretty much, is a resolution by Folly Beach City Council authorizing the payment up to 10,000 for the purchase of pickleball nets.
From Parks and
And,
Recreation.
well, 50% from the cost for Parks and Rec, so 50% from the reserve account. That's what you just voted on, 5 each.
But why not spend the whole 10, so it's 50% of each? Why not spend the whole 10?
Well, 50% to come from one and 50% from the other.
I got you.
Yeah, I didn't say
It's just more right to
5,000.
keep it up with, it's fine, whatever y'all wanna do.
I'm getting ornery.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Brazil?
Yeah.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
No.
Passes.
Must be nice to be the last one.
Huh? You what? Well, so, moving on to the proclamation declaring November 21st as World Pancreatic Cancer Day. And I would say this is a This is a tough form of cancer that I don't know, in the last 3 years, I've heard more people with this than in my whole lifetime, all of a sudden, and it's not a very good outcome for most places. But whereas in 2024, an estimated 66,440 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States. 51,750 will die from that disease. Pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, currently the third leading cause of cancer death in the United States, and projected to become the second leading cause around 2030. Pancreatic cancer is the only major cancer with a 5-year relative survival rate. And just 13% of those folks do survive to 5 years. When symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it's generally in later stages, and 91% of the pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. 920 deaths will occur in South Carolina in 2024. Pancreatic cancer is the 7th most cause of cancer-related deaths across the world, and there were an estimated 510,992 new pancreatic cancer cases diagnosed worldwide in 2022. And as the good health and well-being of the residents of Folly Beach are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about symptoms, risk, and of pancreatic cancer, and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatments. We now declare, Timothy Goodwin, declare November 21st as World Pancreatic Cancer Day in Folly Beach, and encourage all residents of Folly Beach to learn more about pancreatic cancer and the risk and factors in early detection, and with the early detection, the diagnosis and the treatment thereof. Thank you. And hopefully, people will ask questions about it. Go to Google and ask questions and see what you come up with. So most of the folks that I know of, I would just say this, when they find them, like we're in stage 4 and it's kind of late and not a whole lot you can do, and that was one of the biggest problems. Moving on to new business is something a little more better, I hope. 2026-24 ordinance amending sections 154.45 through 49 of the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, protection of loggerhead sea turtles by defining nighttime hours and requiring beachfront lightings to be turned off during nighttime hours between May the 1st and October 31st. You'll see the red, and it's just basically closely defining the hours of what this is. This is the first reading. I have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Go a second.
Second.
Any questions or discussions? Mr. Poe.
Mr. Brazil,
Yeah.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes first.
Ordinance 2724, ordinance amending Folly Beach Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 51, Water, and Sections 51.002, Application for Service, to codify a deposit fee for new water accounts. This is the first reading. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A question, do you know what the amount is?
So we have that,
200? Do we have an amount? Okay.
yes, sir, and there's a, further down, the ordinance creates the fee, and then we have a resolution setting.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Mr. Poe.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Brazil,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yeah.
passes first.
Ordinance 2824, ordinance amending Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, Chapter 131 and 131.33 exceptions by codifying exemption, allowing public works projects contracted for or by government agency to occur 24 hours a day if necessary. First reading, have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions? I will say, This allows us to work in the middle of the night when Kyle or Philip gets a call saying the water main is broken, and they're out there working, and then people want to complain because they're making too much noise. But unfortunately, sometimes it happens, and they don't want to be there either. Mr. Pope?
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Zell?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yeah.
Passes first.
All right, so, the next ordinance 29-24 is the first reading at city council. Hopefully we remanded to planning at the end of the process. Ordinance amending the standards of chapter 16102, definitions of impervious surface to allow river rock to be considered pervious for landscaping, and amending the standards of chapter 166.05 through 03. Single and two-family design standards to allow up to 2 15-foot gravel driveways do not count toward impervious coverage limits. Do I have a motion to remand to planning?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Gall. Congratulations.
Have fun.
Ordinance 30-24. Ordinance amending the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, Chapter 117, short-term rentals by separately defining medical hardship investment rental license, establishing forms for proof of demonstration compliance with the minimum night registration requirement, expanding the eligibility for inheritance based on ISTR license, allowing licensed homes to be relocated without losing eligibility for a rental license, requiring a final certification of occupancy before insurance of a license, excuse me, making failure to renew a rental license a violation eligible for strike against the license rather than revocation, and amending the information required for rental registration permit. First reading, to have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Have a second. And this will come back next time with, work session corrections. Mr. Pope?
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Bazell?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yeah.
Passes first.
So we have first reading for city ordinance 31-24, an ordinance amending the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, section 151.23. Construction standards by creating a 25-foot setback from the perpetual easement line for seawalls and a 5-foot setback for revetments. This is first reading. Have a motion to remand to planning.
To move.
Have a second.
Second.
Congratulations. Okay. Resolution 43-24, resolution by Folly Beach City Council adopting the 2025 regular meeting calendars for Folly Beach City Council, Planning Commission, Design Review Board, and the official holiday calendar. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections or additions?
I would like to have us take a look at our official holiday calendar, and I would like us to consider more federal holidays. Essentially, we have 8 and 1 personal, but some of the areas that we don't have is the one that we just celebrated, Veterans. We don't have Juneteenth, and we don't have Columbus Day. So,
That would be a time to discuss during budget, because you're gonna have to increase the budget for those.
I actually asked that question during the budget cycle, and I essentially did not think it would come down to budget. It would come down into recognizing these holidays that need to be celebrated.
You gotta pay for them. So you gotta pay all the overtime that goes to the public safety department and other departments. I mean, it's more than just saying we add a holiday.
I understand,
So you have to budget it.
so do I have to then look at another holiday then not to recognize tonight? In the sense of, I guess I just assumed since it was on the agenda, that we were gonna, that we could discuss it.
This is the proposed holidays for next year. And if you wanna change them, you change them at budget time, then you amend the calendar and go forward from there. But you gotta go through all the gyrations of where's the money coming from to pay for all that. It's not just easy saying we give you another holiday. That means everybody
I
gets a day
understand.
off. but-
I understand, and I guess that I assume since it didn't go through the budget, I understand what you're saying.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Pope?
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
No.
Mr. Brooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
and Mr. Brazell,
Yeah.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yeah.
passes.
Resolution 44-24, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council adopting increased water rates for city customers to compensate for water rate increase passed to the city by the Charleston Water Systems. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second? Second. We all hate this. It affects everybody, no matter what. It affects me and DJ and some of the rest of us twice from sewer rates.
Yeah, I just looked at that bill today, made me cry.
But these changes are really
We have to,
essentially
it's a
a
pass-through.
pass-through.
We're not making any money on it,
It's
no.
not, it's not the city of Folly, it's just
No.
paying the bill that Folly has to bill.
Right. Mr. Pope?
Mr. Brazell,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mr. Brooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yep.
passes.
Resolution 45-24, resolution by Folly Beach City Council agreeing to pay legal, surveying, recording, and other fees associated with the donation of TMS 439-13-00-025 to the Folly Beach Conservancy Incorporated. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
You want to tell them where it's at, other than the TMS number?
It's down, it's in front, it's not touching, it's across an unopened right of way from 1307 East Ashley. This is just a tiny triangular superfront beach lot. We, for the last decade or so, we've been trying to reclaim these or take ownership of them. The last one we got, I think, ended up costing the city about $3,500 in various fees to do. But every one of these we get, it's just a further step in achieving our dune management goals, our beach management goals, removing it from all possible future use, which is improbable but not impossible at the moment.
This is what we talked about previously, where we talked about moving the line to reflect where the current revetment was?
No,
Is that
sir.
a different one?
No, sir. This is a lot that's currently out on the beach, but under private ownership. And the city's been working since the original renourishment to take ownership of all of them, but there's still a handful of randomness that people have never given up. And these owners, when we contacted them about filling it because of the renourishment, they were unaware that they still owned it. Oh, yeah, we don't own it, take it. So we put this under our control.
Okay.
Where's the money come from?
The Beach Preservation Fund. Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Brazell,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
and Mr. Fink.
Yes.
Mr. Brooms.
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Resolution 46-24, resolution by Folly Beach City Council setting the water deposit fee at $200. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Brazell,
Yes.
Mr. Brooms,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
and Mayor Goodwin.
Yep.
Passes.
Resolution 47-24, resolution by Folly Beach City Council allocating $15,257.30 from the sewer reserve capital account for rebuilding of the pumps on pump station number 4 located at 55 Center Street. Have a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Second. I think it's pretty well self-explanatory. Any questions? Vote.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Brazell?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yeah.
Passes.
Resolution 4824, resolution Folly Beach City Council adopting the 2024 update to the City of Folly Beach Dune Management Plan. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Go a second.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Brazell?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yep.
Passes.
Resolution 4924, resolution by Folly Beach City Council proclaiming lights out night and asking residents and business to turn off non-essential lights at night during critical bird migratory periods in the spring and fall. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Vote.
Mr. Brazell?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Dr. Houghton?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yep.
Passes.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Rich.
Okay.
All right, I just want to thank the city for doing the proclamation for pancreatic cancer. My dad passed away from this at age 53. It's a horrible disease, and it's just good to see that it's getting a little bit more awareness.
I would like to recognize that tomorrow is World Kindness Day. And in fact, they decided recently to expand it to a week. Can you imagine? So, World Kindness Day, what is that all about? That is all about acts of kindness, acts of charity, acts of compassion, and all our good deeds.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for coming.
November 10th was the 249th birthday of your United States Marine Corps. And also Veterans Day is a very special day for all Americans. And we're all veterans of something, right? Whether you're an educator or a parent or whatever it is. So thank you for those that take the time to be good at something. And happy Thanksgiving.
So I got a question for you. A little birdie told me that the Marine Corps was founded in a bar. Is that true?
Absolutely. Tun Tavern in 1775. We were founded in a bar. Yes, the Marine Corps is a department of the Navy, but it is the men's department.
With that, we'll move on to Mr.
Okay,
Booth.
hey, I want to take a moment to wish each and every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving, and will remind you, this is a time of year that we reflect our blessings and express our gratitude for all that we do have, especially here on Folly Beach. So as we sit down to our Thanksgiving meals, let's not only give thanks for the food on our tables, but also for the love in our hearts and the connections we share. And may this Thanksgiving bring you joy and peace and the warmth of cherished moments. So happy Thanksgiving, Folly Beach. Let us continue to spread kindness, like Dr. Kay said, and gratitude throughout our wonderful community.
And he stole that from the Hallmark Channel.
Yes, I did. Word for word.